February 18th, 2023, and this video is called East Palestine Plume Map. Here today, gone tomorrow. Now, I find this very strange. Now, I think I'm 99.9% sure about this, but there's still that 0.01%. I could be wrong, but I think they're hiding some of this information. Now, what is interesting, let's just go through some of this stuff I found. The EPA and Norfolk Southern are monitoring the air quality. Now, if you look at this URL, here is the derailment, East Palestine, Ohio. This is where that chart or graph should be of that plume dispersion. Now, talk about Plumegate. If you want to really dig into the biggest cover-up of all is research Fukushima Plumegate, and they did that on like the biggest scale you could ever even imagine. So this is kind of small, but this is going to have a big impact. So this is important as well. Now, this is where you find this oops, that page can't be found. And when you do a lot of Fukushima stuff, you'll notice you'll get a lot of 404 errors. That means that page has been deleted, doesn't exist anymore. And that's what I think is happening over here. Now, the time, this universal time, when they burned the tankers, that was at 16:30, which was about 4:30 p.m. on the 6th. Now, this is where East Palestine is on the map here. That's the longitude and latitudes. Now, this is 1600 on February 6th. This is when they started burning the material. And this is nullschool.net and earth.nullschool.net. Now, this is the wind. So I want to show you a couple. We'll put this into motion. This is going by each hour. Basically, you could see it was going down southeast. And now you could see actually it's kind of headed up north. And if you look at these maps I'm going to show you, that they plugged in and someone did it, and I could see how they are true. Stuff is blowing to the north. Now this is the 7th. Totally to the north. And you could see how it's changing. Now look, it's going to the east. Now that's the 8th, right? So this is the actual the graph or the picture that it was on this site. Now, fortunately, some people were smart and they saved it. This is the plume. But this is only at this time right here on February 8th, which kind of is weird because they started burning that on the 6th at 4:30. So you could see if it's telling us what it's true, that 2 days later there was stuff still coming out of that. And then I think you could see this, you could figure this out. I think this is the elevation. So this is more interesting, I think. The EPA's high-tech plane monitored toxic event site in Ohio. It's a rarely used sensor aircraft. It's supposed to be ready to deploy within a moment's notice. It says the EPA deployed its Aspect airborne spectral photometric environmental collection technology aircraft to take readings and collect images over the site of East Palestine, Ohio on February 7th, 4 days after the derailment. Now, this is the EPA site for the derailment, right? Look what they say here. It says U.S. EPA air monitoring did not detect chemical contaminants of concern in the hours following the controlled burn. Residents in the area and tens of miles away may smell odors coming from the site. This is because the byproducts of the controlled burn have a low odor threshold. This means people may smell these contaminants at levels much lower than what is considered hazardous. U.S. EPA continues to perform air monitoring throughout the community. This morning, U.S. EPA Aspect plane conducted a flyover to gather additional data regarding air quality. This is the one that we want. I can't find this. But that right there is that monitoring data is what is really important, I think. But this is like a bunch of crap. They're telling you, even if you smell this, the contaminants, that it's all right. I mean, that makes no sense. That there's contaminants of concern. When you smell it, that means those particles are in your nasal cavity. Now here is the EPA site for the Aspect. Now here is the plane. It says that it's 24/7, 365 readiness with 1 hour wheels up capacity. Provides secure information to the first responder incident commander that is timely, useful, and compatible with numerous software applications. This is the other thing. Who was the incident commander? That'd be interesting to find out who that was. So they did do this. So here's the EPA site for Aspect. Now check it out. This was actually their past flights. It's listed East Palestine, Ohio train derailment. So they did do this, but where's the data? Now this is that same plume. This was actually where someone on Reddit is the one that I think preserved it. So good for them, because we wouldn't have this. Now, same thing, but now this is what's interesting. They do have these, this NOAA high split model. Someone also on Reddit got this one. Now here's the plume. Now this is a closer. Now what's interesting on this is going to be on February 4th, which is before the burn. But it must mean that the car, it's picking up, if it's before the 6th, before the burn, this is what was actually the initial, when the cars must have crashed and they started catching on fire before. But if you look, the 5th here, this is the original crash, I think. Once it hits the 6th at 1600 hours, right here's the 6th, it was 12, 14, 16. This is when now they're starting to burn it. Now when they started to burn it, it went down south and then it got pushed up north. Okay. So now this is, I don't know, this is this website over here. So we'll run this. This is crazy. It's showing all the particles. Remember, it first went down and now it's getting blown up north. Kind of looks like Fukushima. Okay, now this is interesting here. Now I found this yesterday and I have these pages open. But since they deleted that other one, I have 2 of these pages open here. If you look, these are the dates right here, right? And here are the dates from the 6th to, I think that's 6 to 6. Okay, so now you got to remember, these plumes, these are only a couple, It's not the entire one. This is like one episode of boom. It comes out and it shows you where it's going. I want to zoom in on this real quick to see this. Now, this is like a cigarette. This is just the puff. Remember that. This isn't the whole cigarette being recorded. But this is what's interesting. Keep an eye on this number right here. This is the job number, right? 22268. Now, I think there's 9 of them I found. There's a couple pictures and videos, right? Of the jobs of East Palestine. Now, I got these open. I didn't want to refresh them just in case they get deleted. I want to record them. But this is a double one I have open right here. This is 68. Okay? Because it actually starts with 62 is the picture. Here's the plume. So what I was curious. Now, this is the first time I'm going to do this. I'm going to refresh this to see if this truly is deleted or you just can't find it anymore if you look up on the directory. Watch this. So I'm going to refresh this. Okay, okay, let's just do this because I have it open in another window. See? Check it out. There is no H-split job with this number. So I am right. This is deleted. That's the error what I was getting, right? So because what I want to do is I'm not going to refresh these guys. I got to record these so I could at least have them. You'll see them here, but I actually want to record these. This is a picture here, right? Now here's another plume. This is 262. Now this is 264. Now 263 was just, there was nothing there. Let's see what happens here. There it is. Look at that plume. Well, it actually went to Washington, D.C. Okay, now let's do 265. Look at this one. Now, I live right here outside the burbs of Cleveland, Ohio. So this is hitting home to me as well because I'll tell you a little story here when I'm done. Now, here's 266. Now, this is a picture here. This is 267, another picture. This is 268, which was that original one that I showed you and I refreshed and it's missing. So if I wouldn't have found these yesterday, these would be gone, I think. Now this is 269. This is the plume I'm worried about. Look at that. It just missed me. Boom. First heads down south. And then it gets kicked back up to go north. And it goes into Canada to get dispersed. Now this is 270. This is the crazy one, I think. I got lucky here. Went into Canada for sure. But that's as far as it's recorded because we probably don't. Let me see here. Boom. Okay, now this is where I found them yesterday, and if you look at these archived dispersion run results, they were here yesterday, But if you look down at the bottom, it goes down here. You can't see it because it's off the screen. It's 22319 is the first one that shows up at the bottom of the list. So even this one, 2232, and the first one, oh shoot, now it's going to be gone. What the heck? Oh, and yeah, that's the one that I refreshed. 22262 is the first one, because I went through the whole list of them for the East Palestine NOAA Plumes. So 2262 is the first one. And so I don't know if you could find a whole database of all these numbers, but it's kind of funny that, oh wait, here it is, 223, there's 21, 20, and there's 2 more. It's off the screen here, and I'm not going to move it, the recording, but it's 22319 is the first one that shows up here. And they go all the way up. They're at 22484. So, and even when I refreshed that one, it was gone. I'm not going to close these out. I got to record these to save them. But as you could see, there is the result, and I'm going to return, and it's gone. So this is another plume gate. I'm going to try this because I'm getting confused if these pages are there or they're not. But look, there's a zipped file over here for all graphics and diagnostics for redistribution. Now look what happens when I click on this. It says that the page you requested cannot be found. It's kind of like a 404. And now what it's going to do, because I tried this, it's going to redirect. Okay, while that does that, oh, there it is, automatic redirect. Okay, now check this out. Let's go to, I'm going to close that out. Let's go to one that's got a, this has got a, it's not a picture. Let's see if we could do it on this one. Open that up. And now it says here that it cannot be found. I may be right, I may be wrong, but this, it's kind of confusing. But they should keep this stuff up here if they want transparency. And I'm going to end with this. I'm going to just bring this up. This is the contents of the trains. I had some nasal surgery last Thursday. That would have been on the 9th. And what I think I was smelling this outside of Cleveland here. And I could see why, because this is where that plume hit, which is, I'm like right around this area. Yeah, I bet you I smelled it, because not the last 2 days, but from the days, I'm thinking the 17th. No, it was from the 11th through about the 16th. I was telling the doctor that I smelled like burning plastic, and I thought it was from the surgery. I also told the doctor that my eyes were watering constantly, and I thought it was something from the surgery. But after putting two and two together, I'm pretty sure that it was definitely something in the atmosphere. And now that I discovered these plume maps, I think, of course, yeah, because here's Cleveland right here. So I was in this area of the plume. So I was smelling that plume, thinking it was because of my surgery. So look how far up I am, too. I'm like in this area right in here. I really do feel sorry for these people that live in East Palestine. Look at this plume. Because this is like Amish country with some of the best farms in Ohio. And it's kind of, this is like radiation, Fukushima. It's invisible. We can't see it, but hopefully it's not as bad as it looks, because there's a lot of carcinogenic materials that was spewed onto the land that animals are going to eat. Crops. Now, I don't know if this phosgene, if it gets transported into plants, just like some radiation gets transported from the soil into the roots, into the plants, probably into the fruits. Now, I don't know if this phosgene and all these other chemicals that were burnt can do that. If it can, then we're in some trouble, because we are going to be digesting this stuff. And this is a large area that has been affected. So this is another plume gate, and I guess that's all I have. This is not good, but this video is for posterity, because it may take probably 10 years, although people are getting affected like right now, 2 weeks later. Usually when these accidents happen, you can't see the effects of the cancer until like 10, 15 years down the road. So this might be creeping up on these people that live in these communities sooner than that. So video is for posterity, so we could look back at it and see like how this evolves. And let's just hope for the best, because it looks like it's kind of like the worst out here.
Hey everybody, another update on the East Palestine, Ohio train crash and what my extended family is saying to us about it. They have been told that everything in their homes that is permeable, so their furniture, their bedding, their clothing, anything that's wood, cement, needs to be thrown out, because these chemicals have permeated through them, and they're forever chemicals, so they're never going to go away. They're being told to throw out most of the things in their home, and that simultaneously it's somehow safe to still live there. I'm not buying it, and neither are they. They were also told that the gas that is formed from vinyl chloride forms mustard gas and is going to settle in their basements, and that they shouldn't be going in their basements right now because it could be dangerous. But you can live in your house, it's fine. There's just mustard gas in it. It's totally fine. They were initially offered $5 a person for the entire town, but now they're offering them $1,000, which still doesn't cover the cost of rehoming yourself after all of this, the cost of getting hotels, the cost of trying to clean up everything, the cost of your health, the cost of the trauma this caused, the ongoing trauma this has caused until these people are financially compensated and given new homes, basically. They need to be rehomed. One of the most disturbing things is that they've told us they have body rashes. They've gone to the hospital and the doctors pretty much say, we don't know what we can do for you. We don't know how to treat this. We don't even know really what it's caused from. We don't know how to decipher how to go from here. The doctors are overwhelmed. It seems like the entire medical system everywhere around there is overwhelmed because of this. Who knows what all of these chemicals created when they combined in the air, in the atmosphere, in the water, in the soil. These chemicals have been confirmed to now be in the Ohio River, and I can tell you how that happened. Not to mention that these chemicals just were spewing into the air and into the clouds, the atmosphere above, obviously that part, but when the fire departments first came on the scene, they were dousing the flames of the train cars with massive amounts of water, which got into the streets and got into the sewer system, the water system, which inevitably ended up in the river. So all of the chemical runoff from the fire departments trying to put out the fire is in the water table now. I just think it's painfully obvious that they are downplaying the severity of all of this because they don't want to take financial responsibility for the permanent mess that they've caused for these people. They need to be honest. They need to be transparent about the short and long-term impacts of this train crash and what potentially this mixture of chemicals could do to everybody.
Governor, if you were to live in the area, would you feel comfortable moving back into your home?
Look, I think that I would be drinking the bottled water, and I would be continuing to find out what the tests were showing as far as the air. I would be alert and concerned, but I think I would probably be back in my house.
So, Jamie, I also sent you a video that shows what it looks like in the area where these clouds are passing over, and it is horrific. It's apocalyptic. It's so terrible. There's a man who's on the ground who's screaming that these aren't storm clouds, that these are the clouds that of this shit that they're burning from East Palestine. And he's freaking out, and, you know, like, animals are dying, pets are dying, fish are dying in the rivers. The idea that they only evacuated a small area.
Yeah.
Like, you're talking about like miles and miles away from this.
Yeah.
Animals are dying. This is it. Look at this. Play this. Go full screen with this because it's so
These
crazy.
aren't storm clouds. This is the fucking shit that they burn off. The fucking shit they burn off in East Palestine. This is not fucking storm clouds.
Look at this.
I know.
Look at it. This is over Darlington.
The resulting fire is going to release the vinyl chlorides, which will burn and turn into hydrogen chloride and turn into phosgene. Phosgene is pretty dangerous. It's a CG chemical from World War I. They used to gas the soldiers with that. It's a respiratory, acidic type thing that'll cause mucosal membranes inside your lungs to fill. It'll be like pneumonia. Your lungs will start filling up. It has a immediately dangerous to life and health rating of 3 parts per million. To put that in perspective, if this room was surrounded by 1 million balls, if only 3 of them got in, it would be deadly. So these are very deadly chemicals that they're playing with.
This is a scene from Darlington. They got Route 51 blocked off. And this, all that you see right here, this is all the burn off. This ain't storm clouds. This is the burn off from it. Go around. Norsiva! Pull up and off. You want me to come back and get you? Yeah, come back. Okay, go ahead. But this is all from the burn off. This is all from the burn off. And it doesn't matter. They blocked us off here, Route 51. This is where all the shit is. It's going up into the atmosphere, going up. Atmosphere. They say fucking atmosphere. It's going up into the sky and it's going to come down. Where is it going to come down? And how bad is this shit? They didn't even give any projections because they really don't know. They really don't know. All of this that you see, these are not storm clouds. This is the fucking hazardous material that they fucking detonated those cars that were damaged there in East Palestine. This is Darlington. This is a few miles from there. Everybody, this is criminal what they've done. Absolutely criminal. Absolutely criminal. So irresponsible. Are you telling me you couldn't wait? You couldn't wait, you couldn't have more patience, you couldn't cool the cars, you couldn't take several days to go ahead and get other tankers in there to extract the materials, to move them safely. You had to go ahead and burn them.
You know, it would appear that we've gotten out of this without any major problem other than great inconvenience and scaring a lot of people. But it could have been certainly a lot worse, and it could have turned out that we had people who were injured or people who, had all kinds of bad results. So it's incumbent upon the railroad. The burden's on them, I think, to assure the public what they're doing, make sure that something like this will not happen again any place else in the United States.
This didn't happen to
to Cleveland, to Columbus, to Cincinnati, right? A major city in your state, sir. It happened to a very small town of 5,000 folks impacted in that area, potentially impacted in East Palestine. And we have spoken to some of those. They have major concerns, despite EPA officials coming down, or perhaps someone served from your administration within the health department in that state saying, hey, everything is safe, you can drink the water. They still don't feel that way. Some residents have left East Palestine that have been lifelong residents and have not returned. One was a mother with an 8-month-old that does not feel safe. What do you say to that mother?
We understand. Look, they've been through a lot. They've been through hell. So we get that. So what our job, I think, is to continue to monitor the water, monitor the air. We're going to continue to do that. Give people these results every single day. But in addition to that, setting up this clinic that we're going to do next week where anybody can just walk in, say, look, I've got this problem, I'm worried about this, and talk to someone who really understands, how these chemical exposures work and what the problems are. They're going to be tied into the national experts. So, look, we get the people's problem, we understand it, and we get that. We're trying to give every kind of support that we can, and we're going to continue to do that. And frankly, we're also going to continue to hold the railroad responsible. Sure. The other thing I would say is we need Congress to take a look at rail safety. The fact that they could bring a train like this into the state of Ohio and not have to notify us, not have to notify any official in the state of Ohio, that's something's wrong with the law. We need to change the federal law in this area.
It's a lot of calls for the Transportation Secretary, Pete Buttigieg, to respond to this, perhaps visit, perhaps show a little bit more focus on what is happening there in Ohio, again, with that specific train derailment that's affected so many people. Obviously, too, we didn't get to talk about the soil as well in that area, and obviously livestock issues, fish dying within that area as well. What I did want to ask you a very frank question. It has been told to those residents in that area, it is safe to drink the water. So my question for you, Ohio Governor, would you drink the water in East Palestine? If a resident asked you to today, are you comfortable with saying that you would drink that water?
Oh, absolutely. Look, we've tested this water. All 5 wells that go into the village system are clear. Absolutely, the water is safe.